cook along. We're based in Los Angeles. I know we have people from all over, including Canada. Thank you so much, Rabbi Moskowitz. Great to have you and your community here. So tonight we are featuring Arthur Mishler, known as the Latke King. He will be going first. And then we'll be hearing from Renee Bainvoll, who is going to teach us sufganiyot, an avid cook. And with that said, thank you everybody for joining. I know some of you will be cooking, some of you will be watching. All of the above is great. So with that said, why don't we go ahead? And I don't know if Rabbi, you wanted to say anything, since I know you have a good, a lot of your communities here.
Thank you, Leah. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be with you all. We had a whole technical thing set up, and of course that's not working. So this very fancy camera that I had sent my father-in-law that I could control from Canada, I can't control. So, but we've got a good shot of Arthur in his kitchen, and I'm going to suggest to you that you may want to go from gallery view, which is where you see everybody, into just speaker view, so that you can focus just on Arthur here. If you have questions along the way, feel free to put them into the chat, and I'll try to read them as we go, and I'll ask them of Arthur. He'll take about 25-30 minutes to show his latke making technique, and then we'll switch over for the sufganiyot for those that are staying for that. You're welcome to stay for everything. We're thrilled to have everybody here. So I'm going to spotlight Arthur for everybody to see.
And I'm going to mute everybody except you and Arthur.
Okay. I'll do that.
Are we on? I guess.
1 second. Shit. Hang on, Arthur. He needs to unmute. Arthur, you need to unmute your computer.
We can hear Arthur.
No, you can't anymore.
He muted him.
Arthur, if you can unmute.
Just.
Okay.
Okay, we got you. Okay, Arthur, the kitchen is yours.
Okay, here we go. Hi,
Tell us
everybody.
what you're doing.
Happy Hanukkah, and this year I hope you're going to be able to have good latkes. Maybe you made them before, but my technique has kind of served us for, let me see, we started in 1969, so it's pretty good. That's 31, that's not bad, that's 51 years. So we have a little experience. I got the title through a friend of mine. He dubbed me many years ago because he said my latkes were better than his boogers. We're going to go through the routine of making the latkes. First thing is you have to get the potatoes ready. They're over to the side. I'll show you those. Then we have to grind the potatoes with the onion and the matzah meal. Add the matzah meal, an egg, a ground onion, make a mixture up, and fry them in a pan of peanut oil, which is about, say, 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch deep. And I have that pan right here, and I'm going to put that on later. But I use a K5A machine, which is back here, and you'll see that when I start to grind the potatoes. Oh, the kitchen. It makes it very easy to do. Well, at least they used to make it easy to do. These new machines are a lot more difficult to work with. But we'll get on with it. So I'm going to make latkes I'm going to make 7 latkes in a pan. That's the way I've devised it, which uses about 1.33 pounds, 1.25 potatoes. And it uses about a half of a medium-sized onion, which I've cut. And it uses a couple of ounces of matzah meal, 1 egg, some salt, and a little technique, and peanut oil. And we'll see how well it goes. I'm a little rusty. I haven't made these for a year. So first thing I'm going to do, let me turn the camera a little bit.
A little more, Arthur. A little more. You got to turn it a little more. Just move the whole head of the camera, not the tripod. Move the head of the camera.
That doesn't move, but
There
That's
you go. A little more, little more, little more. We'll get you. A little more. You can spin the tripod a little bit. That'll get you there too. Perfect. Perfect.
okay.
Okay.
Here we have previously washed. I do not peel my potatoes. I wash them very well. I scrub them with a brush, and I cut out the bad parts. I pare off the things that I don't like. I'm going to use about 4 potatoes. I'm going to use 4 potatoes, which is about a pound and a quarter, pound and a third. And this is about a third of a large onion. I probably won't use it all, but I'm going to try. Okay.
That's
Now-
fine. That's still in the shot. We're good. We're still in the shot.
Now we're going to turn it a little bit over there. I'm
Great.
going to show you the real worker. This is the machine that does the work.
Look, my mother,
Boys,
I got one of those down below.
we put the onion in there and squeeze that down. Now I know it's where the machine runs, so I don't have to worry about putting it out there like that. That takes care of that. Get a little more square out there. And finish this up.
Arthur,
Yes,
what kind of machine are you using again?
the machine is running. It's much harder for me to hear.
Okay.
We'll get that information for you all.
That's it. Now, this is the ground potatoes.
Arthur, what kind of machine was that you used again?
That's a KitchenAid. It used to be made by Hobart, but that's a KitchenAid. It's sold in all of the department stores, and they have them at varying prices. But the problem is they're made in China. They don't last very long. This is my 4th generation machine. The engine does burn out because the stress on it is very great, especially when you make not 4 or 5 potatoes, but if you make 50 or 60 pounds of potatoes, which I have at times. So you get and you have to make it in small batches, because you all know if you've made potatoes, they turn brown. They don't like to be where they were. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to mix everything in it. So we're going to show you that.
Just turn it to the left, Arthur, so we can get the countertop there a bit. You're doing great. A little more, a little more.
Associate cameraman, right?
Associate, you get the directing degree. You got to turn it to the left. A little more, a little more. That's good. Okay, good. Good shot.
Well, we're going to
Tell
throw
us what
in.
you're putting in.
We're going to throw in a good teaspoon of salt. We're going to throw in 1 egg. It's an extra large egg. Matzo meal. That's about 2 ounces, just a little bit less. And I mix. And I use my hands. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, my hands have been thoroughly cosmetically clean. And besides which, the oil will kill anything that happens to get past it.
Now, what are you picking out and throwing out there, Arthur? You were throwing out some big chunks.
I'm pulling out some large onion pieces that came through, which I don't need. Now I'm going to put the stove on. And I'm going to get the oil up to operating temperature, which means it's not going to smoke, but it's going to be about in the vicinity of 375. and the oil has to continue to bubble as long as you cook. The potatoes need to cook
That was about 2 ounces of matzo meal. You said about what was that?
about 2 ounces.
About 2 ounces of matzo meal.
Now you see, when you make them, you don't see the skins anymore. They're all in the mixture. You get I think the texture that you get from the grated potatoes, you can do it I don't suggest using a Cuisinart to mash them up, but if you have a shredding attachment, you could do it. The problem with that, and I've looked at all those problems, is that it's a very narrow tube that you put it in.
Arthur, do you not peel the potatoes and leave the skin on?
No peeled potatoes, just washed and scrubbed. Here's the brush. Right? Get yourself a nice little brush. Only for use in the kitchen. Use it for other things like to scrub carrots and that kind of stuff. But it's I don't know if it's more nutritious. It was a whole lot easier when you're doing a really lot of potatoes. It's not easy to do that.
What kind of potatoes?
Idaho potatoes, preferably, not Yukons. I find the water content of the russet the best. I like Idaho potatoes, but those grown in California or Oregon are suitable. You don't want yellow. You don't want anything like a white rose or they're just not made for this.
Now you're not squeezing out the liquid there, are you?
No, there's no liquid.
Mm-hmm.
Potato depends upon what's in there in terms of now you can leave the salt out if you want to be on a salt-free diet. You can add more salt if you like salt. We serve the potato latkes with homemade applesauce, which we will show you. But we have the oil takes a little while to heat up, but this gives me a chance to mix it up.
He's making
I make in batches. When I made them, I would fry 3 pans at one time. So I would make enough latkes. I would make 3 times this amount, and but it has to be done in a certain amount of time. It's almost like making matzahs. Matzahs have to be made so that the dough doesn't rise. In our case, it's make sure they don't turn brown. So now we'll see where we go. Not hot enough. But this is peanut oil. Peanut oil used to be very hard to find. I remember when we came to California, I had to go to Chinatown to get peanut oil. And because they didn't sell it in the stores. Now they sell it in 4-gallon drums. So I guess a lot of people are making latkes.
Arthur, do you have a suggestion? Do you have a suggestion for anyone who has an allergy to peanuts?
Corn oil is perfect.
Okay.
And we got another question here, Arthur. People want to know why you're mixing so long.
Like grapeseed oil or canola, those oils are flavorless oils, and I think you get a certain nuttiness from corn oil. Not nearly as much as peanut oil, but peanut oil really gives it a unique flavor. And as you know, the Chinese like peanut oil. They use a lot in their cooking.
Okay, Arthur, why don't we switch the camera over to the stove so we can see what you're going to do now. Perfect. Good shot, Arthur.
no.
Lift it up a little bit. Perfect. Good. A little more. That's good.
That good?
That's good. So, let's lift up the camera a little bit more, Arthur.
Tilt it up.
Just a little bit where your head's getting cut off.
when we start to fry, I'm gonna put the hood on, and that makes a lot of noise, so I have to come closer to the camera to talk.
So Arthur, why were you mixing so long? You were mixing that a long time.
Plenty of time, you gotta, because I found that I can mix it, I mix it. If I've got the time, if I don't have the time, I think, well, if you mix it more, the egg gets more in, everything gets more blended. There's more blending time, that's all. But
Okay.
the problem is, you don't always have that luxury, so to speak.
And you're using a non-stick skillet. I see that.
Can you ask?
You can use any kind of skillet you want. You have plenty of oil in there to prevent it from sticking.
No,
You take,
Arthur, Sharon wants to know if you're going to put something in the oil.
first.
no,
An onion?
Not putting an onion in?
you can put something in it. If you like flavored oil, you can put it in there. You might put onion in there. What I do is I shape the latke on a spoon. Give it a little squeeze when I take it out.
Wait, let's see that before you put it in. Can you show that to the camera? So you squeeze it on a strained spoon. Can you show that to the camera? The next one, I guess.
Here we go. I may let it get a little too hot. I did, but that's all right.
Show us one to the camera, Arthur, if you can hold it up to the camera before you put it in.
So as I said, you have to work fast on these things.
So you're squeezing out the liquid. You're not showing it to the camera. Arthur, can you show one to the camera? Show one to the camera.
Does the camera like latkes? No, I guess not.
The camera does. It would like to see a little close up on what you got going there. Lots of squeezing. You're not gonna show that one either. Okay. Can you show one?
I got more to go. I got 4 more in here so you can see them. Okay?
Yeah, we just want to see if you can bring the spoon over to the camera. That'd be nice.
Here's the spoon.
Okay. That's good. Okay, we got it. Okay. Thanks, Arthur.
And this is, you press a little pressure on the top. That's all I can say.
Again, for those watching at home, we had a very fancy camera set up, but it's not working, so I can't zoom in, though I had planned on it. Still doesn't work.
How come the volume went off?
He's not saying anything.
No, but you can't hear the oils.
Arthur, can you still hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. There we go.
Maybe you can move that bowl out of the way so we can see the pan frying, too. When you're done. So it's really a very simple recipe. It's matzah meal, it's egg, it's onion, it's potato, it's a little salt, and a little bit of elbow grease. And how much oil did you put?
I grated potatoes by hand. And my joke was, they may start off milky for carbs, but they end up squishy with a little body blood. So,
Right, if you're doing it with your knuckles. Arthur, how much oil did you put in the pan there?
I would, I can't tell you how much exactly, but there's between an eighth and a quarter of an inch, about an eighth of an inch. I'm going to show you what the pan looks like now. Now I think I've got 8 in it.
For our Canadian viewers, I'm not sure what that is in the metric system, but it's an eighth of an inch. So it's not submerging the latkes, it's just getting about half the latke.
5 centimeters.
5 centimeters.
5 centimeters. Can you see the pan from there?
No, there's a pothole. Oh,
You can move the camera closer. We can see it. That's good. Yeah.
You see this?
Yeah, we can see that. Up a little higher. A little higher. A little higher. There you go.
The
Very nice.
latkes are not underneath the oil. They're not deep fried, but they are. And I had to turn the heat down. They fried a little too quickly. We're on a better glide path right now. And I use wooden spoons to move around. It's easier. Nothing sticks in the pan. Just make sure they don't stick together while you fry them. And depending upon how thick you've made them, that will determine the frying time. Now, generally, when the latkes are this brown, as you can see, these are very brown because the oil was very hot at the beginning. I turn them over. I've turned down the heat.
About how long do you have them on each side before you flip them, Arthur?
They generally take anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes, probably less. But I really never timed them.
So you're just looking for it to get brown, yeah.
The simplest method, and I've trained a couple of people when they help me do this. You don't touch them, you don't turn them over. You look at the edges. When you see the edges are brown, that tells you that the bottom is brown. Then you can turn them over. Now, these three that are brown.
A little higher up. There you go.
That's as good looking as you're ever going to get a latke.
That's a nice latke.
I've turned down the heat, so they're cooking a little slower. Because we want to make sure the center is nice and soft and fluffy.
We see your kitchen assistant.
I fired her this morning. She came back anyway. Look.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've never seen my mother-in-law crawl on the floor of the kitchen ever.
Get a signed picture. Yeah, this is. I have a with rack in it. I don't put them on paper. Just put them on there. You can keep them in the oven at 200 degrees or so if you want to build up a whole. As I used to have maybe 60 or 70 in the oven at any one time, and then the hordes would come and they would disappear in quick time, whatever. But everybody enjoyed them, and it's all you can ask for. Now I'm going to turn over a couple. This is all done.
That's a nice latke there. So the Mishlers are famous for a latke party that they had in pre-COVID times. The big debate, would it be a milkik latke party or a fleishik latke party? That was the big deal. With milkik, you get your applesauce and your sour cream.
No, well, we had occasion to make a milkik latke party, and it was almost a revolt because everybody came looking for certain kinds of cold cuts that we had every year. We had the same menu every year. There was pickled tongue, corned beef, salami maybe, turkey, and coleslaw and applesauce and everything.
And a cardiologist waiting in the living room.
She's taking the sour cream. And just spill the residue out. That's potato starch.
Yeah, we can't see what you're doing at the sink, Arthur. Question came up: when you're done cooking them, Arthur, can you freeze them? Can you freeze the latkes when you're done?
I didn't hear you, Dan.
Are you able to? I think I know the answer. When you're done cooking the latkes and you're not going to eat them all, you could freeze them, yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You can't freeze potatoes too well, plain potatoes, uncooked. But these are cooked. And they stay very well for at least 3 to 5 weeks. After that, you can do them also.
I don't think they've ever lasted that long in our freezer. We eat them before that.
That's true. We take those over. And these are going over. And, you can, when you reheat them in the oven, you reheat them at between 3 and 350. And you can use your toaster oven. Just put them on a rack. Don't put them on anything else and let them. And you'll get a lot of oil out when they cook. But this is it. They're pretty well gone. I just hope that the early ones that I made we can let them sit just a little bit longer. And that, ladies and gentlemen, are the best latkes you've ever eaten. You won't have any trouble making them, I don't think. Just make them as you saw them and as you remember them. The big problem with oil, by the way, generally I get 2, maybe 3 fries out of the oil. And then the oil starts to break down and it's full of foam, white foam. That's because the water contaminates the oil. So I change the oil in the fry pans. So you go through a lot of oil if you're making lots of latkes. But it's going to a good cause, your stomach. Enjoy it. And I wish everybody a happy Hanukkah. And we go on from there.
Arthur, thank you very much. I'm going to return the view for everybody to see. Go back to gallery.
I'm going to take them out. I'll show you in a second.
Okay, you'll take them out and show to everybody. Okay, good. Okay, everyone, we'll get one more close-up of the latkes, and then we'll switch over for Renee. I will.
These have to cook a little longer, but I'll show you these.
A little higher up. There you go.
Oh, Arthur.
The snow
Hello.
goes to Florida, huh?
Philadelphia.
Arthur, can you send them over to Philadelphia?
No, the funny thing is, I was talking to my sister-in-law today, and she said, you used to send them to us. Maybe you could send some. I guess the snow has gone as far as New York, too. But there they are. They look very pretty. The problem is they don't have a long shelf.
Muted everybody. That's
Disappear. Enjoy them. You can put a little more salt on them, and you can eat them with sour cream. They're good. Enjoy them.
Arthur, thank you so much. What a delicious, delicious demonstration. I will say that your daughter has perfected your technique and brought it up here to Canada, so it's now an international recipe.
okay.
And we are just so happy to be able to share this with all of you and to be in your kitchen. We miss that kitchen. We haven't been there in a year or more.
And as you know, behind every great Latke King, there's always a great Latke Queen. So thank you so much, Susan, for supporting this project as well.
Susan, come on to camera. You don't have to crawl this time.
Susan. Yeah, come on, Susan.
Come on, Susan. There's my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
That's what I look like.
Okay, I just wanted to play them.
She's
Susan Martha Stewart Mishler right there for everybody. Hold it up high. There you go. Nice one.
60 people. They're really wonderful.
I'll take a dozen.
I know.
Thank you. And thank you, Rabbi, for helping moderate this part 1 of the cooking session with the Latke King. And now we move from the salty to the sweet. Not too much salt, but so Renee, I'm going to go ahead and remove the spotlight. I think it's on. Renee, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I did.
Wonderful.
1 second.
Okay, and can you lift your camera just a little bit?
Are they using this?
I want to watch.
Better?
Here, hold on 1 second.
Is she on here?
Rabbi, can you make me the host?
Yeah, Leah, I think I did already. You are the host. You are the host.
I can't.
Arthur, I'm going to mute your microphone.
You can mute my microphone, and as long as I can watch, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, I can't actually. You need to mute yourself. I can't mute your microphone. You need to mute yourself. There you go.
Okay, Renee.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to find you and spotlight you. All right, I'm going to Okay.
Okay. So, I love to cook and I love to bake, and I grew up with a European mother who was in catering, and she cooked all the time. I don't remember her not cooking. So that's my background. Since Leah has been doing these classes, my kids have also suggested that I do Shabbats based on themes. So I've been doing Shabbats, and I noticed that we have our Southern person with us today. And the influence of her cooking led to us having a complete Shabbat Southern Friday night dinner. So that was fun. Of course, for Hanukkah, I will be doing latkes similar to Arthur, as well as different flavored latkes. For this purposes of the sweets, I decided to do a recipe that's pretty no-brainer. That's a very all-in-one bowl kind of thing, easy to make. The way I am making it tonight will be dairy with sour cream, but you can also make it with the par of sour cream. So because I hurt my hand a week ago and I'm only operating with one hand, my son Idan will be my assistant sous chef here. So the first thing that I do is sift. I used one of these things to sift flours just because it's easier. And I'm going to sift 3 cups. I use regular flour.
Renee, your mic is a little bit, we're having trouble hearing you.
Oh,
There we go. You're
okay.
good.
So I'm using 3 cups of flour that I'm sifting.
Do you mind just mentioning what we're making real quick for people
Oh,
who
we're
just
making
got on?
sufganiyot. Huh? Sorry, we're making sufganiyot, which is the Hebrew for jelly donuts. And there are a multitude of different types of jelly donuts. This one is a little different. The donuts come out smaller, and they're more crispier, I guess, than the fluff that we're used to seeing in donuts. But I found them to be very yummy. And like I said, for purposes of this class, and if you have kids or someone that you bake with that wants to do it on their own, it's a really much easier recipe than some of the other donut recipes that used yeast, where you have to wait for it to rise and then you have to wait for it to rise again. So I decided to do one that would not require any rising at all. So now I have my sifted flour in here.
How much flour, Renee?
3 cups. 3 cups of flour, and to that I'm going to be adding 2 teaspoons of baking powder.
I'm not making.
Thank you, Idan, for helping tonight. Are you using all-purpose flour? And if so, how much?
I used all-purpose flour. 3 cups, and I put it in my strainer and put the flour in the bowl. To the same bowl, I'm adding the baking powder, sorry. And then I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of sugar. I also like this recipe because it didn't have a lot of sugar in it. So it's not horribly sweet, but then, you can put in whatever you want to. So it kind of makes up for the sweetness from that. Okay, so I have my 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 tablespoons of sugar in the flour. And to that, Donna's going to add my 2 eggs without the shell, Don.
Don't get to see his handsome face.
Just your face.
Just for a second.
Handsome face. There's his
Hi.
Hi.
And to the eggs, I'm adding 2 cups of low-fat sour cream, which is basically the equivalent of one container of sour cream.
$16 ounces, right?
16 ounces, yeah. Oh. My back is going to break. Okay, and that is the entire recipe. So can't be much easier than that. And then we just mix it up. I prefer mixing it with my hand, but since it's a little hard to do that right now, I'm going to attempt to do it with the mixer. But ideally, you know, you want to just get in there and give it a good mish so that it comes out to one. Well, I'll show you once we try it with the mixer. You can also start warming up the oil.
What kind of oil are you using?
I'm using canola oil. I mean, I don't know that it's oil. Canola oil is usually the oil that I use for frying anything. So I don't know if it makes a difference to use other oils or not. You could try it. Okay, so now you're gonna have to take it off this. Not with your hand. The other one. Okay, so this is what the dough looks like. Okay. Plus or minus. The easiest way to test the flour, to test the oil to see if it's ready for you to bake in, you can either use some of the dough that sneaks away, or you can just use some flour and see if the flour starts to bubble up in the frying pan, then that means that your oil is ready. My oil is not yet completely hot, but it will be shortly. And then I just use a soup spoon, like a regular eating spoon, to put that amount of batter, which is about, and you can make it bigger or smaller depending on what you like, but I put in about this much and fry it until it gets brown on all sides. I'll show you that once we get to the oil. And then you want to take it out of the oil once it's ready with something that's like a slotted spoon of some sort. So that way you take it out without hearing a glob of oil, and put it in a plate with a paper towel.
2 questions. How much oil do you use, and do you use any salt?
No to the salt. And as far as oil, it's probably like, I don't know, maybe an inch, 3/4 of an inch. About.
Gotcha. About how many, do you know how many donuts this will make around?
It depends on how big you make them. It should make between like 20 to 25. Okay, so my oil is ready. So I'm going to put them in the frying pan, and I'll ask Don to pick up the computer so that he can show you what it looks like in the frying pan.
Have you ever tried baking them in the oven?
I have not, but I'm down to try. I'm down to try. I mean, I imagine that it would work, but it probably wouldn't, like everything else, that it wouldn't probably taste quite the same. Kind of like the difference between frying schnitzels and baking schnitzels. They both taste good, but not quite the same.
Yeah. Someone asked, how do you add the filling? We will get to that at some point.
Yeah. and make it more of a rounder thing. You can use scoopers.
I think you'll need to move the camera when you're on the side of the camera, it's harder to hear you. So if you could put it sort of more directly in front.
I said if you're particular about how you want them to look.
Yeah, we're having trouble hearing you.
But if you're particular about how you want it to look, then you could probably use scoopers, you know, like melon scoopers or ice cream scoopers if you're more into getting it into a more perfectly rounded shape. I'm kind of doing the free fall method here.
Yeah, you're still going in and out.
I'm kind of doing a free fall method in terms of the shape of it. If you feel like when you make it, you want it to be more perfectly rounded or more rounded, then you can always put it in a melon scooper or an ice cream scooper to get it to be more round. So once you see that one side is starting to turn brown, then you just flip it over and fry the other side.
So it's not a long process at all. It's just
No. This donut that you can make, I think. And then when you do the filling, again, even doing the filling, I find it, well, certainly right now, but I find it easier to just make a slit on the side and put in the jam. If you want, you can use a syringe or, you know, special tools that they have available for stuffing it in. But I find that a knife works just fine. They're not very big either, so it doesn't take a lot of jam. This first batch is just about done, and there are 9 that came out in my first batch. Any questions so far? We good?
let me see. So you're using it. So what are all the tools you're using again that are the essentials for this? You have the skillet, the spoon with.
Yeah, I have the bowl that we mix everything in, a soup spoon, and then a slotted spoon to take them out, and the frying pan.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not using a frying pan. It's a little bit deeper than a frying pan because it has a little bit more oil than you would use, let's say, for latkes. Because these need to be more submerged. Okay, so this is what it looks like. You see it?
Yes.
Can you see what it looks like?
Yes, we can. Very nice.
Taking them out, and I'm putting them on the towel. Drain some of the oil.
I'm gonna go and see what's cooking with our dinner.
And then I'm gonna try and make some.
What are you saying, Renee?
Uniform. We shall see. I don't know. Not really. At least not my scooper. All right, so I'm going to put some more in to fry, and then I will show you. And then hopefully they'll be cool enough for me to show you the next step.
So what do people need to get to prep for the filling? You said just a knife or?
I use a knife. You can use a syringe if you have a syringe. You can use, they have, special instruments that people use for stuffing donuts and the such with, but like I said, for these especially because they're not very big, I think it's just easier to make a little slit with a knife and put the jam in that way. Also stuff them with other stuff. You can stuff it with Nutella, chocolate lover.
Renee, I know it's difficult. You keep going in and out. If you can, I know a complicate, especially when you have only one hand to use. But I just want to make sure we hear everything you say.
Okay, I'm going to move back and show you the next step. Okay, so this is what they look like when they're done. I mean, done frying. It's actually okay enough for me to use. Okay, so now I'm going to make a slit in the donut.
What kind of jelly are you using?
I'm using just regular, any kind of jam that you have. This happens to be strawberry. So you're going to take the donut. I can't do it. Here. On the side, the slit you want to make on the side, and then you have like a little tiny hole like that big, and you put the jam in.
There we go.
A little more jam.
Do you have any ideas for vegan modifications?
Vegan modifications. Okay, so vegan would be no eggs. Okay, and then the last thing that I do is I put some powdered sugar on it. The easiest way to do it is with a strainer. So I just put some powdered sugar in it. And then I just sprinkle it like that on the jelly donut. And then we have a powdered one.
Beautiful. Wow, you definitely made that easier than I had imagined it would be.
Yeah, like I said, it's not like the fluffy big ones that you buy at the bakeries there that look real pretty, but they're easier to make. They're great for kids to make. I'm also looking for recipes of stuff that I can make with my 20-month-old grandson. So this is something that he can actually mix together with his hands. He can put the ingredients in a bowl. Obviously he can't fry it, but it's very kid friendly. As far as vegan, the only thing I think that would have to be substituted is the eggs, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
Sorry, say that one more time.
I said, as far as vegan goes, I think the only thing that would need to be substituted would be the eggs.
Yes.
So I suppose you could just use any kind of egg substitute that would be the equivalent of 2 eggs. I think that would work. I think, like I said, I think this recipe is pretty amenable to changes. I know that when I make it for Shabbat, I'm going to make it with tofu sour cream, so it'll be pareve. And I don't think it would be a problem to use any egg substitutes either.
Wonderful. Delicious. Well, I wish we could all taste them at some point. We would love, when we come together in community, we would love to have them in person. And I'm going to hold that to you if possible, Renee.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would love to let you try them.
Wonderful. Well, tonight was wonderful. I so appreciate the two of you for taking the time and getting the ingredients and putting all the thought into this. You know, if any of you are interested to join future gatherings, please send me an email. I'm going to put my address in here one more time. But once again, a huge thank you to all of our cooks. And Renee, what's the theme of your Shabbat meal this Friday?
Well, this Friday, it's going to be Hanukkah. So I will be making a challah shaped like a menorah. And of course, latkes and Hanukkah cookies and sufganiyot.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much again to everybody. I hope you all, these lessons enhances your own Hanukkah meals. Wishing all of you a happy Hanukkah. And
Hanukkah Sameach to all of you. And hopefully we will be able to celebrate Hanukkah all together next year.
Yes. And thank you, Edon.
Thank you, thank you. Hag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
Hag
Take
Sameach.
care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi.